Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. For our first ever video, the Button Mash Bros want to have a look at whether Battlefront 2 is worth playing in the year 2026. After almost 9 years of gameplay, are people still playing the game? Well, we downloaded it onto the PS5 and had a look. Here's what we found. In order to figure out the answer to whether the game is worth playing, we're going to split it up into several key questions and see if we can figure out, for everyone, what we think. Are the servers still alive? Does the gameplay still hold up in every game mode? And most importantly, is it still fun? Well, here are the highlights. The first gameplay mode we tried was Supremacy. We loaded it up and within seconds of looking for a match, we immediately found one. Already dozens of players on, and it was well into the match. Every time we tried to reload Supremacy just over the next couple of weeks of play, we haven't had to wait more than 10 seconds to find a Supremacy match. This is exclusively on PS5. It may be different on other consoles, but even Steam lists very recently thousands and thousands of players online as well. Supremacy is a game mode that's very much alive and people are still enjoying it. For those of you not aware, I'm running some footage of Supremacy at the moment, so you can watch that on camera and just see a little bit of general gameplay, but it's one of the main war modes. It allows you to play as the vast majority of troops in the game, and it's split into 3 eras. Our favourite era to play was the Clone Wars era. Whilst the others are good, and I think there's a place for all of those, it has far more of the troops that we enjoy watching, probably because we grew up with them. And it allows us to play as clone troopers with a variety of armors as well. All of them look great. Leading on to the graphics of the game looks incredible. For a game that's nearly a decade old now and has been optimized as well for mass online play, the detail in the character models is outstanding. You'd be amazed and pleased if you bought this even today. Playing as the large variety of troopers and seeing how well people can play with them leads to frenetic gameplay. It is challenging but fun, and there are so many people playing of so many abilities. So if you're new to this game and you've never played it before, it's currently on offer as I make the video for less than £6 online. Absolutely worth spending £6 to enjoy the vast array of characters and gameplay, even on this one game mode. So yeah, the game's alive. There are a lot of people still playing. There are new players of new lower ability. There are people who have maxed out their level on all troops. But most of the people playing are pretty new. And if you're not new to first-person shooters or third-person shooters, then you're going to get on just fine. One of the other highlights we found was the 2v2 heroes versus villain modes. It allows us to team up, so with each of us on a console we can be a team and go against other people. But in the most case, for most people playing, you're going to be playing on your own matched up with somebody else. Whilst this is our favourite mode to play, it is perhaps a slightly longer wait if trying to get into it. Nevertheless, we've probably played 50 matches in the last couple of weeks and almost never saw the same people again. So there are a lot of players still playing this game mode. In terms of fun, it's very fun. The challenge is always different depending on who you're playing against and depending on who your teammate is. Sometimes the teammate is really willing to play 2v2. Sometimes, as many of you who have played the game will know, you'll get the classic 1v1 challenge and not be allowed to play together for fear of people quitting. If you're somebody who wants to play if you're somebody who wants to play a mode where you're playing as heroes and all fighting each other at once, you need to play the 4v4. You're much less likely to be challenged by people going for the 1v1. In that mode, that's reserved solely for these duels. Nevertheless, both modes really worth playing, and the gameplay still feels exciting. Most hero characters are sufficiently different to give a level of challenge and a level of enjoyment no matter who you play as. Whilst you'll always have a favourite, and my favourite's Darth Maul, just because of his speed and how aggressive he is and that classic Kenobi yell that he can do as a taunt. I've played as him far more than anybody else. Whilst you'll always have a favourite, no matter who you get, you're always going to have a pretty good time. Matches are pretty quick generally for those game modes, pretty short. Most people are pretty efficient in wiping out the other team and normally have a single team dominate. I would say it doesn't really matter which team you're on, whether you win or lose for the hero and villain matches. You're still going to have a nice time and an exciting time playing together, but it is going to be chaotic. To really understand, I think, why this is so interesting in terms of the gameplay and why we even bothered to make the video in the first place, we need to go back to 2017 and understand if this is what we've got today, and these variety of characters is what we have today, and these number of game modes is what we have today, why is that interesting at all? If you go back to 2017 when the game launched, it was surrounded by controversy. The progression system at the time was linked pretty solely to loot boxes, and players were really unhappy about it. There was enormous backlash against EA, because it would be that you would open up the game on the first day, as I did, and you would find that the vast majority of the heroes were locked behind loot crates, which were randomized, but the odds of you getting the character and the things that you needed to upgrade them was very low, or massive amounts of currency, which you could pay for in addition to just playing the game, but for a full price game, that's not right. And the loot boxes were so randomized that many governments deemed them to be gambling. And because the game was sold to children, it actually meant that they wouldn't be able to use it. The day before the game was published, EA removed the loot box system. So what it meant was, in many places the game was released, the progression system didn't work. So you couldn't unlock everything properly. Now, if you jump forward a few years, they worked on it. And EA worked to re-establish the trust that they had previously had, and they worked to improve the game, and they did. And they released loads and loads of free DLC. They brought in new heroes, new maps, and new content for us to play, and new game modes as well. All of it free, and they kept updating it for several years until after the release of The Rise of Skywalker, and they did have content for that film, and that content's still in the game as well. But they added some of the best characters in the game. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a hero, amazing character. Count Dooku, really great at dueling, although annoying if he's the one chasing you. But the community started to change its opinion, and overall we're left with a really good Star Wars multiplayer game experience. None of that would have mattered if ultimately the servers had died out though. So, because we've been able to find that they haven't, this video is worth making. We've seen that there are actually thousands and thousands of people in every game mode. Now, not every game mode is equally full. It did take longer to find people playing modes such as the ship modes. Having played a few of those, I find that just less interesting personally to play as, but it took a little bit longer to find people to fill up the gameplay on that. But Supremacy, Galactic Assault, these were filling up very, very quickly. It's also cross-generation, although not cross-platform. So PlayStation 5 users, you can still play this with people on PlayStation 4, but you can't play with people on Xbox or computer, which is a shame, but it would mean more people were playing. But ultimately, I guess the PC gamers would have an advantage over us guys, so maybe that's the way to go. So I said we had to figure out the answer to a few questions. Are the servers still alive? We know the answer, they're still alive. Does the gameplay hold up? Yeah, the gameplay is where Battlefront 2 shines. It is built around large cinematic battles. You're not just running around behind cover shooting people like a more traditional perhaps first-person or third-person shooter. You have a variety of different ground troops, all with their own skills, specializations, and weapons, vehicles, starfighters, and heroes that can all play in the same mode. And if one of those characters that you're not prepared for comes up to you in that mode, well, that's it. That's the end of your life. You have to start again. And if one of those characters comes up to you in this mode, well, you know, you're going to be choosing a new character on your next life. And when the heroes enter the battlefield, everything changes. Of course, everybody wants to kill the hero if you're being attacked by them, but if you are the hero, you got the opportunity to really change the tide of battle here. And I'll run some footage where I'm playing as one of the villains in a Supremacy match, and you can see how many more kills you can get and how much quicker you can get around the battlefield as a hero. The reality is most of the time you're going to get only a few kills before people really want to target you, especially if you're standing in one place. There are a few people who will try and hog the heroes and make sure they're spamming the button to try and take them. You know, if they're doing that, let them. What are you going to do? But what you can do is each time on a supremacy map you change round, you can be ready to choose them at the beginning of that round if you've saved up your currency, if you've been earning points through the round. I think the thing that makes Battlefront 2 stand out a little bit, it has to be the fact that it's a Star Wars game. Lots of games have lots of characters, lots of games have lots of skills, lots of games have lots of guns. But it's playing in these particular settings, Geonosis, or on a Star Destroyer. You turn around as a rebel and you've got Darth Vader walking down the corridor, and as within canon, there's nothing you can do. You're not going to win that fight. You can try and run, the saber's going to chase you down the corridor anyway. So whilst it looks really cool, it feels quite realistic in the sense that you shouldn't be able to kill off the hero in a single shot. That being said, if the whole team turns around and works together, then you're going to have a different outcome. I think the game is probably best played with friends, and it's quite nice if you've got a couple of you together who can work together in a couple of minutes to coordinate things. You're far more likely to get a great result. So to sum up, things that are still holding up in 2026. The graphics. The game still looks amazing. The visuals hold up extremely well for a game that's nearly a decade old. The maps themselves look incredible. Hoth looks amazing. Naboo looks the excellent recreation of everything we will remember from The Phantom Menace. Kamino is pouring with rain, and the ocean beneath you looks incredible. The whole map looks great, but every map looks different. They have been ripped straight from the films. They look amazing. For those really interested in Star Wars, lighting, sound design, and atmosphere feel like they've been pulled straight from the screen. It is some of the best atmosphere in any game we've ever played, and certainly one of the best atmospheres in any Star Wars game. On the PS5 particularly, the performance feels very smooth. Two of us played the game, one on PS4 and one on PS5, to just compare the difference. The load times on the PS5 are seconds to get into any map. For the PS4, it tends to be about a minute. It doesn't make a huge difference. If you're really interested in having it run a little bit smoother, it does make a difference on the PS5. Having played several hours over a couple of weeks, the variety of different characters stands out as being a real highlight. You can go into a different game mode or the same game mode in another round and pick a completely different character, and you'll have a completely different experience. It's not as simple as running in and being in the same place every time. If you choose a sniper, that's not going to work. If you choose a heavy, that's going to work. But perhaps you want to try a ship this time. Perhaps you want to try a stab trooper and get onto the platform that the soldiers use from the Every single round can be different, and you can try out multiple ones and multiple rounds every time your character respawns. The downsides, well, the game's not perfect. It still bugs, and there are a few times where matchmaking didn't work, particularly on the 2v2 hero mode. We were waiting for people to play against us, and nobody joined even though it had loaded around. It happened a few times. We quickly reloaded it. We found people to play against. It wasn't a huge issue. It's worth being aware that you might need to do it for that mode. But for every other mode, we were in within seconds, and we were in playing within seconds. I can honestly say I'd load up the game, and certainly within half a minute of having the game loaded, I could be in a supremacy match already playing every time. There is no more development in the game. Whilst that may not feel like a downside, it does mean there is no continued service, no new maps, no heroes, no updates, and it's left the community wanting a Battlefront 3. News of that has been sparse, and there's no real clue that people are ever going to be developing a Battlefront 3 under the current trajectory for Star Wars games, and the lack of crossplay against other consoles and the lack of crossplay against other consoles and computer means that there is a slight limit to the number of people in any particular mode. In summary, despite the game's rocky launch, it's ended up becoming one of the best Star Wars multiplayer experiences ever made. The gameplay's still fun, the visuals are great, and the servers are definitely active enough to enjoy all the main modes. If you're a Star Wars fan and haven't played it, we highly recommend that you do. In terms of gameplay, I'd give it 5 out of 5. Graphics, 5 out of 5. Bugs, they are there, but they're not going to ruin your experience. In fact, some of them might add to it. Most of the bugs that appear are visuals, and it just means a character might be missing part of their outfit. It's honestly quite funny seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi run around without this skirt part of his outfit and just these tiny little legs running. It's good fun. It's certainly not enough to stop you playing the game. I'm curious now. Now that we've finished our summary and we certainly think the game's worth playing, what do you think? If you haven't revisited the game maybe download it, try it out.
Oh shit.
It's certainly worth having a go. If you're still playing Battlefront 2 in 2026, nearly a decade after launch, well, what level are you? Who's your favorite character? What's your favorite game mode? Are you preferring light side or dark side? For me, Darth Maul's my favorite, as I said earlier on. I love tearing through the battlefield with him and causing havoc, even if I only get to play for him for a few minutes before somebody wipes me out. What do you like? What do you prefer? Let us know. If you like this sort of content, consider a like, consider a subscribe, consider giving a comment to give us some feedback. It's only our first video, and we'd like to know what you'd like to hear more of in the future. Thanks for listening. Take care. May the Force be with you.